come up. Ganja smoking, they got rum in me cup. Bad gals wind up on the dance floor. All the gals wind up on the dance floor.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another OCC match. I'm going to be play-by-play caster Septilence, and I am here with colorcaster Jag.
Well, good evening, everyone. We've got a great matchup tonight. A rematch, actually, between Calamity and NaCl.Exe, also known as Salt. These two have already played. Calamity taking the win there, so Salt looking for a little bit of revenge tonight. Do you think that maybe that quest for vengeance could be a hindrance, or do you think it'll be a motivation for them, Septilence?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, we've got a pretty straight fire lineup coming out from Calamity here, just coming out from Calamity as a whole for the tanks. I mean, we're running what I believe is DJ Entel Touch, Jag the Nerd, and then, DPS, you've got Mango and Ares, and in those supports, Crosby and Crispin, and I might be new here, but from what I've heard, this is a pretty solid team, and they can really give us a pretty effective show. So, up against NaCl, things could really go either way.
You and I share a name, but the question is, can he clutch it tonight? But on the side of Salt, we have Silver and Night Knight in that tank lineup. We've got Ghosty Man 52 and Wasp on the DPS, and then certainly last, but definitely not least, we've got Yixi and Widowfaker on the support lineup. So I think this is going to be a really interesting match, and we are going to be going to Lijiang Tower first.
We all know that Lijiang Tower and just the control maps as a whole are one of the most popular, or one of my most favorite game modes. I love to play control. I love to cast control because every single second of maps like this are just absolutely insane, and they always put on such great entertainment for the people watching. But Jag, I feel like you and I have casted this map a lot lately. What kind of team comps do you think we're going to see coming out of these teams here?
Talk about this every time we cast Lijiang, and really any control map. Control is such an interesting game mode because every point kind of has a different look. it really depends on what point we have first, and I think that can kind of set the tone for the entire map, because if you luck out and you're more of a brawly team, then maybe you really want Night Market as well as Control Center, while meanwhile we've got Gardens that's very more susceptible to dive. You're going to have the Pharmacy kind of out and about. So it really comes down to what we see first. I'm not sure if the Sim TP is still being played, honestly. We haven't seen that in a little bit. Teams have kind of preferred to more just run towards the point and kind of take it over. The Sim teleport strat was so viable for so long, but maybe tonight we're not going to see it as much.
I mean, the Sim TP strat's a very common one, but it's only good if one of the teams is running it, and I think it became so popular that everybody's afraid to run it now, because Sim TP into Sim TP is just chaos, and it really just comes out on top of which team's going to get a kill first. And that's how most team fights really work, but in the Sim TP, it's kind of more of a panic fight than an effective fight.
But we are going to be going to Night Market first, so I guess we're going to have that question answered very, very soon, but right now we're just waiting for the heroes to be assembled on both teams. Other strategies you can see the Pharah here. There is not a great a ceiling on this map as some others, but you can kind of just have her floating around that point and just kind of spamming in. Echo is really popular here, but she did get nerfed, so her playtime has gone down drastically so far. What do you think we might see here?
Like you said, Pharmacy very popular on this map. It looks like we might see a Sim TP strat from both teams. So, we speak it into existence, and there it is. We have manifested this into the competition of both teams, but the big difference we're seeing now is going to be the Orisa Sigma versus Sigma Reinhardt. And the Sigma Reinhardt on the side of Salt is going to be much more aggressive and be able to get much faster into that point and get a lot more damage in than I think we're going to see out of Calamity here. So if the Mei, however, could make up for that damage, so as these gates open, I think it really could go either team's way depending on who really gets that first pick.
Absolutely agree. I think the Mei might be the difference maker. If they can wall off the enemy team, it will be great, but we do see Calamity getting to that point a little bit quicker, so that might be all they need to win this fight, and right now, Salt just trying to make their way to point.
Calamity teleported onto the point, and Aries put that Sim TP into the window, and it was just perfect for the team as Ghosty Man put one in as well, but nobody followed through. Crispin's going to pick up the first kill onto Night Knight, and I mean, Night Knight has already gone Night Knight, so you hate to see it, but Krosky's going to pick up Wasp as well. Crispin not too far behind with a pick on the Ghosty Man as well. A very damage-heavy Moira gets purpled by Widowfaker, but is able to fade out of it, and I mean, right away that point is going to be handed to Calamity.
Yeah, and I think that really comes down to Kroshi being on the Lucio. That speed really helps you get to the point where you want to teleport a little bit quicker. We're already seeing the swap come in now. Ghosty Man on the Pharah. You're actually going to swap very shortly as well to the Mercy. So now they have that Pharmacy, which is a really good counter swap because they know they can't really get onto that point. But oh man, Ghosty Man already taken down. So this fight might be over before it even began.
Yeah, like you said, this fight might already be over. Mango takes out Ghosty Man just with a clean headshot in the sky. So now you're running a clean 5v6, and with a Mei on your team, it's basically a 5v7. Aries is going to pick up Night Knight again. That's going to be very big. Running the microwave, Reinhardt is going to knock it away fast, and there's no amount of healing. It's going to keep him alive there. Wasp is going to take out Crispin, though. That could be a window for them here as Ghosty Man has returned back to the fight, except DJ Gentle Touch as well, and Krosky. So Ghosty Man finally getting some value out of that Pharah. The Mercy Pocket being very helpful, and it's going to give Salt enough time to rotate onto the point, but they're going to rotate into the point just in time for Mango to get that Blizzard too. Mango's going to take out Silver, but that's going to be 3 very quick kills coming out from Salt. Half of the point already gone for Calamity, but Salt is going to be able to flip the next here.
I think this Pharah is the right play. I think Ghosty Man maybe just getting a little bit impatient there, not having the Mercy on him during that first engage, is able to get, I think, 3 picks in that fight, maybe more. So a huge turnaround. Salt does have the point, but Mango did not use that Mei ult, which was really important. They were patient. They will still have it, but here's the Coalescence coming out early.
Coalescence can come out super early from Crispin, but we're going to have a barrage to counter, and Ghosty Man going to pick up Aries. The microwave has been unplugged. Crispin's going to take out Nixie as well. Silver finds Crispin after the Coalescence comes to an end, and Mango with another clean headshot onto Widowmaker before being traded out by Night Knight. Right now, we are really looking into the trade for trade, but Silver's going to pick up DJ right afterward. It's now going to be in the favor of Salt. They're going to be able to come out on top of this fight, and they're almost halfway done with this map themselves.
Yeah, Ghosty Man making a great play of that barrage up top. The Mei ult being committed before they even were able to get on point. I'm not sure that was the smart move, but now Mango swapping on to that Genji. They have tank ults, they have the beat, but Aries is going to get that poke on to Ghosty Man, so that might be the opening right now that they need.
Aries does get the pick, but Dixie is able to get that res back on the Ghosty Man, and during that resurrection, Silver finds a pick on a Mango, who's now on the Genji. So pulling into the Genji this late into the game, farming a Blade is almost an impossibility unless he really gets in there a lot faster. We've got almost a full Ultpocalypse coming from Salt as well, with only 3 ultimates online from Calamity. So right now, Salt is in a phenomenal position to hold on to this point for a remaining 30%.
This is going to completely flip on its head right now. Salt is driving, but here's the Flux coming out.
Flux going to come out here. It's going to be smooth rejection. They're going to slam Silver into the ground. And that's going to be just enough. A big Shadow, though, is going to pick up 4 from Night Knight. He's nanoed as well. He's going to get a lot of damage out, but no kill confirmed from White. Yeah, Yixi did find the resurrection onto Silver as well, but Widowfaker eliminated by Mango. The Bob from Wasp pulls a Stinger of his own, takes Mango out of the fight, 10% away on the point, and they've got 1 ultimate left, nearly 2. But right now the question is, can anybody from Calamity even touch? I don't think they're going to be able to.
Have that bongo, but here's Lucio trying to get in behind, isn't going to touch the point, so that will trigger overtime. They do have that bongo to use, but there are still so many ults on the side of Salt.
Bongo's going to come out and be immediately dealt with, as is DJ. The Wasp does find the headshot out of that bus-sized hitbox. Another barrage comes through, picks up a triple. Ghosty Man cleans up half the team. The cherry on top of this very easy team fight for them. They're very quickly going to move in and take us to our second map. That really started off in favor of Calamity, but Salt came back just booming.
Yeah, that mail, I think, was the turning point. Mango just using it kind of in a panic, maybe, not able to find the kills they needed. And Yixi, she is doing a great job on this Mercy. I know Mercy, a little bit Resonant Sleeper, yada yada yada, but behind every great Pharah, there really is a Mercy player that's not only pocketing the Pharah, but also really helping the team. Those reses were huge, kept Salt in this, and now they are up 1-0 on Lijiang, but we now are going to Night Market, so this is going to be very interesting. We're going to see a Genji versus a Junkrat.
Genji versus Junkrat. I mean, this map just belongs to Junkrat 100 times over. It's such an effective map for him, and he's just so much of this is such a small area to work with. So things are looking really, really good here. It's going to be great for them to move in. They're already up 1 map, and with a Junkrat on this second map specifically, Control Center, they are really in a much better boat at the moment. Mango's really going to have to get that Blade. Didn't have time to farm it last time, but let's see how much this Blade can be farmed in this first fight. It's going to be difficult. We see a lot of ult charge already coming through on NaCl side. They've got a bit ult advantage, but we see Calamity has the point advantage. So this is one of those slow engage fights. Everybody's going to move forward, kind of get into the point, get a little bit aggressive, but nobody's really going to find any picks quite yet. But because nobody's falling, Calamity already standing on the point, they're going to get a very free point tap. But they did last fight as well, last map, and they still ended up coming on the bottom. Ghosty Man is eliminated by first line, so things aren't looking great already. I mean, things are looking fantastic for Salt and Calamity. Definitely have to be on their heels here, keep an eye on what's going on around. The Wasp has got Mango as well, so we're now in a 3v6 scenario as Ghosty Man does take out DJ. They're going to keep moving around, try to get a little bit more aggressive. Wasp takes out Broski, and right now, I mean, 20% on the point, but Salt just came through that fight and cleaned them up one by one.
Ghosty got stuck in the trap at the last second, it looks like, so they are going to be staggered out a little bit. Ghosty Man already has a tire, but I think the biggest difference you'd say is the DPS is the support lineup. You know, we see a very standard meta support lineup on the side of Calamity, but we see the Mercy and the Ana. You don't usually see those two in combination, but so far it's working. Dixie has made this Mercy work. So many ults right now. It is an ult apocalypse on the side of Salt. All they have right now on the side of Calamity is Krosky's Swear. Will it be enough to get through this?
This Square is going to have to put out more damage, and I think we have a 2-minute Gravitic Clutch from Silver and a Bob from Wasp. Just going to dump a lot of damage. Baits out the Immortality Field. Mango's going to wall his own Baptiste's Immortality Field and completely negate the entirety of its effects. The Crispin and Mango are end up going to fall. They've got the Tire, they've got the Valk, they've got the Nano, they've got the Shatter online. They've got plenty of ults to work with 3, nearly 4 ultimates about to come online for Calamity. But like we said time and time again, right now, I mean, we're just seeing a huge difference in play style between Salt and Calamity. Salt has a much different team comp, one that's really very effective. They lose the point right at the beginning from the rest of the map. I mean, it has not even been close. We're going to see a Bob from Aries come out and a Shatter come out from Night Knight. He's going to pick up quite a few. He's stunned by Christmas. He's then going to pop Rally. The Immortality Field just barely to never stay alive here. Night Knight is finally going to fall to DJ. That might be the first elimination for Calamity on this map. Already gone. Silver making it out of this would be a miracle. Yes, Silver is going to fall in this moment. So it's going to be a 4v6. Both tanks missing, but Gravitic, Flux, Tire, and Valk are all still on the line. If the remaining people can make it out of this fight alive. But no, Ghosty Man's going to dive right in, try to deal as much damage as possible. But with 75% already on the map, Calamity not in a good spot to hold on to this point.
This wall right now for Mango has been doing work. Almost caught Night Knight off guard again, but Aries is going to find wall, so that's probably going to be a solid reset unless they get the res. So this fight is still going on 6v6.
Oh, a huge shatter comes out from DJ, though. It's going to give Mango the opportunity to take out Wasp once again. The Resurrection came through just to have Wasp sent back to the grave. Another massive wall from Mango as well. The tire's going to come out, and it's going to be eliminated by Crispin. Very unfortunate. Ghosty Man maybe got a little bit too greedy. Tried to find more than 1 or 2 kills. Tried to eliminate as many players as possible, which is a very high-risk, high-reward strategy. But we need to acknowledge that the man is already 40% back to another tire. He just pulled it. It is almost halfway back to the door. 5 ultimates on the side of Salt, but right now, they just cannot get through this door. There's a lot of ultimates coming out for Vidic, Clutch, and Bob. Seems to be a common combo between both teams. Exe gets the res off just in time to nearly dive, but the Falcon is going to keep her alive. Jag did pick up Ghosty now attack with Vidic, Clutch as well, so they're trying to win this team fight. Night Knight doesn't end up finding Jag the nerd, and DJ does turn back onto Night Knight. Widowmaker takes out Mango, so things, again, she's got to pick with that Coalescence in the back line, so right now, Salt is up by about 2 or 3 in these numbers with a Bob coming out from the Wasp. It's going to be a clean 7v3 fight here for Calamity, so they've really got to get out of here.
But right now, they're not even playing on point. Salt has not been able to cap just yet. So, no matter how this ends, Calamity, as long as they can win the next fight, this is map over. And the question is, are they going to take this fight even though they're down right now? And it looks like they are.
They are down for sure. Ghosty Man's going to pick up a double. Night Knight's going to pick up DJ as well. It's going to be a 3v6 with nearly 4 ultimates online. I mean, we're in last fight potential here at this point. Somebody's just got to desperately fly toward the point in an attempt to touch, but the respawns are taking so unbelievably long. 7 seconds for anyone to touch this map, and with the heroes they've got right now, I think that is everything but impossible. A massive shatter comes out from DJ, but it's not going to get any value. Ghosty Man picks up a double tire at the end, but that's mostly just insult to injury. Salt right now, I mean, that's the one thing they just put into the wounds of Calamity, because that was a very clean 2-0 for them.
Good one. I'm glad we talked about this before the game started, those Salt jokes that we thought would come out eventually, but I think the biggest mistake we saw from Calamity is that they were kind of weirdly still trying to contest the point, even though they were basically at 99%. They were down, I think, 1 or 2 people in the fight that basically ended up losing them the map, and instead of disengaging and trying to back out, they tried to still take that fight. And because of that, they just didn't have time to touch. And then you can just see everything was used by Salt at the very end. And basically, they were just able to keep them in that doorway, weren't even able to get close to point. And that is a 2-0 Lijiang going the way of NaCl.
Yeah, I mean, that was fantastic, and if they can keep up the momentum that we've seen there, this should be a very easy series for them. But, I mean, we've seen it time and time again. The first people end up, one team ends up winning the first map, and then they just get reverse swept entirely. So, it would be unfortunate to see, but we've seen it before, and I'm sure we'll see it again in this career. So, I mean, our next map is going to be what?
Going to be Eichenwald, and I think statistically the worser team, that's not a word, I always never know how to pronounce this, but the team that is worse, I guess, has the best chance at winning control, actually, than any other map type. So we do see that a lot, that sometimes you see the team that wins control gets, 3-0'd the rest of the map. But this is a 4-map series no matter how this goes, so no matter what, we'll see 4 maps played. At the end, it just comes down to map differential, so that could be important at the end.
Absolutely, map differential definitely makes a difference in these plays and in these teams and in the brackets as a whole. So I mean, even just one map difference could separate you from playoffs or not, or a seed or not. And I mean, that's really important to all of these teams. So whether or not Calamity gets 3-0'd or whether or not Salt, ends up coming out on top of this, I think every team is really going to give it their best to win every single map.
Yeah, and that map differential can be very important, especially when it comes to playoffs. Even if you lose, losing 3-1 is a lot better than losing, 4-0 or, a 3-2. So that all adds up in the end. But I think Eichenwald will be very interesting. We did see a lot of Rhine from both of these teams, a lot of double shields. So do you think that trend will continue?
Honestly, I think Reinhardt actually not a very common pick recently, just in higher metas and in other tournaments that I've been a part of. But right now, both these teams really seem to be making that Reinhardt work, especially with a lot of free shatters coming through. We saw, I think, 3 different 4-man shatters happen on Lijiang, and that's very uncommon to see. So if shatters can come through continuously like we've seen, I wouldn't be surprised. But right now, I highly suspect that Salt is going to bring out that Pharmacy once again.
It's pretty crazy that there's 2 shields out and you're still able to hit those really fat shatters. So it all comes down to maybe timing and positioning, maybe catching your enemy off guard a little bit. So, props to these main tanks who are still able to bring the hammer down on their opponents. But we are going to see what looks like a Pharmacy come out from Salt. You guessed it perfectly. So good on you. But we're also seeing Crispin on the Mercy. So that's really interesting. They're going to be looking for that res on defense.
Yeah, the res on defense is going to be important if it can get pulled off. Crispin had a lot of trouble last time staying alive on Lucio and was quite often the first or second person eliminated from the team. So hopefully a little bit more value comes through and they're able to keep that Mercy alive a little bit better, but also a little bit more ability comes from Crispin with the Guardian Angel. So right now it's going to be a Pharmacy versus what is most likely going to be a damage boosted Ashe. So Pharah's really going to struggle to keep the top of the point alive and stay in the air for extended periods of time. But I mean, Ares is really going to have to start hitting these shots, and I don't think we saw them hit a lot of shots on that last round.
Did not. It seemed that the hit scan battle was not in their favor, but the question is, can they win it this time? We do see that Psyker is on the McCree. That is a swap that came in, so different hit scan player right now on the side of Salt as they try to make their way to the point.
Ares does take the Dynamite out underneath Psyker, eliminated, but Exe is right there to hit that res. She's been on top of these resurrections both games so far. I don't think she's missed any opportunity to get them. Ghosty Man does find Mango straight away, but Crispin does have that res. They've got to watch out where the Mercy is and the Ironer to help eliminate that. Right now, Ghosty Man just in the back line of Calamity, dumping in damage, boosted damage here. Takes out Krosky as well. There's not going to be the Baptiste missing Orisa, and Ares right behind. Crispin gets the res onto the Baptiste, but that's just going to get him killed once again. And wow, the Pharmacy comes out with perfect execution, and Ghosty Man already has that barrage for next fight.
Yeah, now we're seeing Mingo swap off of that Hanzo onto the McCree, so they are looking for that double hit scan to take out Ghosty Man, who's just been such a hindrance so far for Calamity. And you know, you just run the Pharah until it doesn't work, right? It's so annoying to deal with her. It's so hard to take her out of the sky, and so far we have not seen Calamity able to do anything with it. She already has the barrage online. They also have Widow Fakers. Nano, not too far behind on Shatter, so things are looking pretty good right now for Salt, but there are some ults pretty close by for Calamity.
Ghosty Man trying to fly into the backline, hits the double barrage onto Ares and Crispin. The damage boosted Ashe combo is eliminated straight away. Night pins Jag into his own Orisa, who fortifies, and that's an immediate team kill. All they needed was the perfect execution of one barrage, and that's exactly what they needed to do moving forward. They're going to get a lot of free space out of that well-timed team kill.
Barrages have just been on point so far. They've been over the top. There's been no way to stop them on this side of Calamity, and this card is going to keep rolling through point two. But they didn't get that much push because they only had their Ana on point, I believe. So this bridge is very holdable right now for Calamity.
Oh, Psyker then Nano, but we're going to see the electric cowboy here. We've not seen something like that in a very long time, but Psyker does end up finding Crispin. Both Mercies have been taken off the table. Mango found Exe as well. Rabbinic Flux came out and I think was just stunned away because Silver did not pull that completely. DJ does end up taking out Night as well, and just as we saw that NaCl had this in the bag, it looks like Calamity's finally going to come back to life and start hitting their shots once again.
Yeah, and Ghosty Man also going to swap off of the Pharah onto the Genji. I'm not sure about this. Genji got his nerf has basically just made him not unplayable, but it's much harder to get that burst kind of one tap potential on to squishies that he used to have. So this might not be in their advantage. They do have the Shatter and the Valk, nothing else really in the bank for them, and there are 4 ults on the side of Calamity right now, so this could be very holdable for them on the second point defense.
Without a doubt. I mean, they've got the Bongo, they've got the Flux, they've got the High Noon, and they just popped the window. Ghosty Man has eliminated Ares already, though, and Crispin looks like they're about to go down as well. That's going to be the resurrection back on Ares, but Crispin does find the kill. And if Ghosty Man takes out Ares once again, that's going to be fantastic. That's going to eliminate essentially 3 players, but Exe finds the pistol whip onto Ares. Takes them out of the play. Now Big Shatter comes out from Dynamite, so too. And then Flux is going to be a little bit bigger. We're going to hear Mango pop the High Noon, but nobody's really there. The shield does get from Silver. Ghosty Man finds Krosky in the backline. The Bongo's been eliminated. Ghosty Man finally falls to Mango, but the Orisa and the Baptiste have already been taken out. Night pins Mango into the depths there. Exe is resurrecting onto Ghosty Man, and that's going to be nearly 3 minutes on the clock, and they're already getting ready to head into the castle.
It's going to give them an extra minute and a half for this third point, and Ghosty Man basically had a 1v2 against both Mango and Ares. Somehow was able to live, get the Mercy, get Ares the first time, was able to deflect the High Noon from Mango, but Exe getting that pistol whip kill. You love to see the battle Mercy, and right now, Salt looks to be in great position to get a free full cap, but here's the High Noon.
Oh, speaking of High Noon, here comes another one from Cypher, but Ares flicks the head, takes him right out of the fight. Resurrection on the Exe, so in reality, all they really lost was a free reload, but Ghosty Man right now in the backline picks up both DPS and Jasmine, or cleans up half the team with 1 blade. Fantastic execution there. Never dove in too deep, did just enough damage to take everybody out of the fight. Finds Krosky as well. We should acknowledge Ghosty Man is already 25% to another blade. I mean, that is insane. just this man has been farming ultimates so much faster than we often see. Almost 4 minutes on the clock, and right now, I mean, NaCl looking to clean this up already.
Yeah, Silver might be able to get the Flux 9 here. They're so close to it. 99 does have the Shatter.
Widowmaker with a double kill. The Shatter won't even matter. Widowmaker hits 2 really important kills. Night gets 2 of his own. That's basically another team kill. 3.5 minutes on the clock, and NaCl just rolled through Eichenwald.
Yes, NaCl executed that program, that attack, very, very cleanly. Only 31 seconds less to be exact, less than what they started with. And they just never really stopped. You know, I was questioning the swap to the Genji because that Pharah had been so great so far in the series, but Ghosty Man has just made this the one-man show. No offense to anyone else on Salt, but this guy has been putting in work. Yixi has been amazing on this Mercy so far, getting reses in places that I didn't think she would be able to, but they're just not pressuring her out enough. And right now, Calamity back to the drawing board as they start on this attack. You know, we have seen a lot on these kind of like hybrid maps or escort maps that a lot of these teams will be able to get that full cap, but the team that starts off just usually does it better.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's just, I don't know if it's just a mental boom or a preparation of any situation like that, but the attacking team, especially with an attack as effective as that Pharmercy really was, I think it's really going to be difficult for Calamity to come out on top here.
Yeah, and we're going to see Mango on the Tracer. I'm not sure if that's going to be a pick they're going to stick with. They have plenty of time to swap as they are in the attacker spawn. We are going to see Troski on the Mercy, so they're still really sticking to that Mercy bat comp that I think we saw on their defense. Not sure if it's going to get as much value, but, you know, Yixi's been doing a great job so far, so maybe Kurski's like, I can do this better.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, especially if Ares can hit a big dynamite here, things are going to be great for them. It's going to be difficult, like I've said 100 times over. I feel it's going to be really difficult for Calamity to break through a solid defense. We saw that as soon as NaCl had the point last map, it was just a clean lockdown. So if they can play this like they play control points, they can really afford to come on top of your. Cypher's going to prove it for us by taking DJ out of the fight. Well, Resurrection comes through out of the Reinhardt. Cypher gets taken out instead. I talk about how well this defense is going to be, and it's going to crumble right in front of our eyes. Things are going to fall apart very, very quickly, but the point is not giving up quite yet. Already 30 seconds off the clock, and this is another slow burn fight. These teams really like to take these fights slow, try to bait out cooldowns from one another. A sleep comes to be on DJ, but a bigger dynamite comes through onto Night from Ares. Ares dropping in a critical position to go to sort of clean up that kill. DJ finally falls. The Immortality kill was just not going to be now. Again, a very slow fight. A lot of cooldowns getting very little value. Both Reinhardt off the table, going to be eliminated as well. So no Resurrection is going to come through here. Yixi picks up Crispin, but is taken out in trade. Zyker eliminated by Ares, and Silver eliminates Mango. So right now we are again in one of those clean trade scenarios, but this is actually a benefit for the attacking team because they can return to point much faster.
Yeah, I think they should be able to get back in here in just a second. I think they're just waiting for one more respawn. I think they should be able to take this fight, but Ghost D-Man does have that blade. They also have the Nano, so a lot of ults on both sides right now. Can the Bob be big enough? Can the Swear be big enough? Can the Rally be big enough? It's really going to come down to who is willing to commit these ults in this early defense and offense.
Yeah, like you said, it's going to be who commits that ultimate first, and with Ghosty Man pulling a Nano Blade here, it's going to pick up just one, but a bomb from Mango is going to pick up Widowmaker as well. Nope, it's going to pick up 3. Ghosty Man pulls that a little bit late, but he ends up getting it off, eliminating 4 people on the team. Kroski in Valk, the sole survivor of that fight. 2 minutes already off the clock, and right now, if they can keep up this defense with the ultimate advantage they have, I don't think we're going to be seeing the rest of Eichenwald.
Yeah, and that was a great fight for Salt because they only had to use 2 ults. Meanwhile, on the side of Calamity, they actually used 3. That pull swap is something you can get back pretty quickly, but that's still a big commit. Both teams have both tank ults, so the question is, will the Rally be enough? I think the Rally and the Swear are the really big question marks going into this fight.
Yeah, I have to agree. When's a good time to pop Rally here? I mean, they've got it online, but Rally almost negates window entirely. So we hear a Shatter come out with a Rally to boot. It looks like a Gravitic Clutch from Jag's going to pick up Night and eliminate him. We hear another high note from Cypher. He's found out of it. DJ picks up Silver. And just as I say, we're not going to see the rest of Eichenwald. Calamity is here to show us that might not be the case quite yet. Mango dashes in, tries to put some damage into Cypher, does end up finding the elimination, and they're even going to go for the Resurrection onto their Reinhardt. This is going to be a full 6 push into what is 3 survivors of Salt right now. They're trying to burn away the timer for as long as they can. 2 ticks already out the window there. 80% there to capping this point. And as Ghosty Man and the Yixi fall, they are going to get this point. 3.5 minutes left on the clock. And right now they have to do the impossible and attempt to finish more time than NaCl.
Now, right now what you're seeing from Salt is that they have to back out because they are down a man. They're going to give up space, but that's okay. This part isn't getting that much movement. The pulse bomb is committed, though, and gets Psyker, so that's kind of big for them, but Mango is going to be taken down. And now a Nano being committed. This fight is just going on still.
Committing a Nano onto Silver, definitely an unusual thing to do. We did see that 1-for-1 trade in the DPS department. Ultimate committed from Mango to do so. Ghosty Man taken out by Aries, definitely have a ticket out for him. Aries constantly taking Ghosty Man out of the fight. Silver eliminates DJ as well. So right now we're looking at 1 DPS ult versus 1 DPS ult with a couple coming out from a couple players as well. But right now it's going to be what's going to be bigger, Blade or Bob, and I'm sure we're going to find out very soon here. The point being stalled, at this point every second counts, so it's very, I mean right now NaCl's in a very good situation to move forward and stall this point for as long as possible. Win or lose, shatter or no shatter, they are going to be able to stall this for nearly 30 to 50 more seconds. Ghosty Man's going to commit the Blade, but he's going to be Gravitic flush upwards as well as his Reinhardt. A double kill comes through, so the Bob is going to be bigger. Nighty Night being dismissed by Aries as well. And after 2 ultimates have been committed in the 2-to-1 trade, it looks like, oh my goodness, excuse me, it looks like Calamity is going to be able to get this part moving once again.
Can they finish off the supports? And they did get Widow Fake, that's a huge stagger. They're able to get yeah. So that's the real fight winner there. They were able to win that, but Salt was holding up so close that they weren't able to get that much card progression. But now that they've been able to get the supports late in that fight, they're going to have great position on this bridge to get point 2, and that's going to help them even more as they get Psyker before the fight starts.
As Mango takes out Psyker, like you just said, that's going to be a very quick fight. It's going to be a 5v6, very difficult for the defending team. That would make even worse for the attackers. Mango commits a pulse bomb, but is eliminated by Ghosty Man instead, so we're now in the 5v5, but that's if anybody touches the point. 2 meters left, but Ghosty Man does dash in just to get out of the point. DJ gets like extra damage, so they're moving forward, and a huge immortality for a bigger Gravitic Flux. Now there's no immortality, we keep them alive. A big purple comes through. Oh, that's going to be a couple knocked off the map. DJ falls off the map. I'm not even sure how he got over there, but Silver finds Jag the nerd as well. They're going to go for the full tactical reset, a minute and a half left on the clock, and they've got no ultimates to work with other than a Bob and possibly a window in this next fight against a High Noon and almost a Shatter and a Blade. So right now, this really could end up with either team coming out on top. But the one thing we do know is that in this moment, it is impossible for Calamity to cap all 3 with as much time as NaCl.
Yeah, Night I think boot 2 people off. That was a great charge by them, but as you said, these ults are going to be very close. Mango falling very low, so if they fall early in this fight, this could be the end for them. Aries does have the Bob, Toshi does have, and here's the Bob coming now. But
not gonna fly. He gets slept and booped backwards. Behind him coming out as well as the scatter. Now they're getting a lot of value, but Ghosty Man with another Blade, and they're all just standing there waiting for him. DJ does find Nighty Night and finds Gixie as well. It's going to be 2 picks for the men, so things are looking very good, but Ghosty Man finds Crispin as well. Baptiste now out of the fight, dismisses the mortality field as well. So the card does move forward a little bit. DJ gets plucked on card once again, and then he is stunned. The man is being stunned over and over. Ghosty Man does end up falling to Mango once again, and with three eliminations coming back to back to back. 20 seconds on the clock, but right now it looks like Calamity is going to be able to get this battering ram through this door. Psyker finds Krosky, Jag takes out Psyker, and Crispin falls off the map. Not sure how that happened. Jag eliminates Yixi, and that's going to be the pick they needed. A minute 40 left on the clock, and they're going into the third point of like
3-second counts here because I believe because this is hybrid. If they cap with 0 minutes, they will get a time bank no matter what, but it'll also give an extra minute actually to Salt. So they want to get this down to 0-0 or win it here, but that's a great way to start with Widowmaker getting the pick on Jag.
Yeah, Widowmaker takes out Jag, and even though he does get Resurrection, that does eliminate the res later on. Jag's going to hit a big Gravitic Flux with a Bob coming out as well from Aries. This is a very common strategy we're seeing these days. Touch eliminates Aries, but Jag gets a double kill of his own. DJ gets a 3rd and a 4th pick. That's going to be the entire team eliminated except for Nighty Man and Ghosty Man. So things not looking not looking too good for NaCl, but looking very, very good. Right now, it's going to be very difficult for them to move into this point, even with the rally, with the High Noon, with even the Shatter or the Flux. Just touching the point as a team is going to be very difficult in this moment.
Are going to try. The rally comes out, and they are on the point. Here's the pulse bomb. Isn't going to find anything, and the High Noon is going to come up with the Flux, and it's going to find Aries.
High Noon picks up 1, and that's all they needed to crack this case wide open. Night picks up 2. Sprosky gets the Resurrection onto Aries, but in this point, does that even matter? They're going to keep moving forward. Silver finds Aries, but Aries had already found Psyker, and the defending team is going to be able to stabilize this point. 30 seconds on the clock. They need to win 1 more fight. They've got 2 ultimates to do it. Right now, it's going to come down to the solo performances of Night hitting that Shatter and Ghosty Man cleaning up with the Blade. So it's really going to come down to these 2 players and how big these ultimates really are, because if they do not go well, then they could end up losing this and go into extra rounds.
And can DJ get this shatter? He's the closest to an ult. They used to square early, but I don't know if he can even survive this.
DJ moves in quick. A shatter comes from Night Knight, picks up 3, but nobody's there to clean up on it quite yet. Ghostman into the backline, finds Koki and Ares. A third of the team already gone. DJ takes out Widowfig and Night Knight, but Psyker found DJ himself. So right now, you're in a 4v3 scenario with Psyker clicks Mango's head, goes in and takes out Crispin, and the overtime timer is now going to tick away as there are no survivors of Calamity left. And with that, no one will be able to touch, and we will go up 2-0 in favor of NaCl.
Yep, and that was a really great Eichenwald, although I will say NaCl did very well on their attack. Calamity did not go down without a fight, very close, just not able to get those final few inches that they needed at the very end. Ghosty Man just doing great on this projectile DPS role, just making it their show so far, but this series is not over yet. Calamity still has plenty of time to get back into this because they have at least the next map. They have a second map as well, even if they lose the next one, just to kind of make that map differential a little bit better in their favor. But if they want to get the reverse sweep, it has to start on this next map, which will be Havana.
Havana, a very popular map. Probably my favorite escort map. I'm a big fan of Dorado as well, but I feel like I've played it much more, so Havana's always a pretty good change of pace. What do you think we're going to see here?
Well, I really love the double sniper on Havana because there are such great sightlines, especially on that first and third point. Second point, not so much because it's much more closed space. You kind of have to swap off that for a little bit, but you know, we see the Hanzo Widow sometimes come out. We see a lot of Genji because he can just kind of dash in and out of different areas. So I'm not sure, but I think we'll probably see a lot more Arista Sigma because you can play a lot more poke on this point.
Yeah, without a doubt, you can play a lot of poke, and the Orisa Sigma is very common for payload or escort maps as a whole, so wouldn't be surprised if we saw that come out here and maybe come out swinging a little bit, but this is often the map we see them hold up very close on that first point, because when you hold onto the cart very early on, you get the opportunity to get 2 fights. When you play that first corner back on the street a little bit, you end up only getting 1 fight. But if I'm not mistaken, this is the moment where we are going to go into halftime, and we will get to see another kind of halftime video. So for the time being, thank you everyone for sticking with us, and we'll see you guys on the other side.
Damn!
You're powered up. Get in there.
Welcome back, everybody. After that fire halftime highlight reel, you love to see them. I love game editing like that, and I think it is phenomenal. But we are going to jump into Havana. So, Jag, what do you think is going to happen here?
Now we are seeing NaCl up 2-0 over Calamity, which is, kind of a reverse of what happened in their first game this stage. Calamity was able to take that one, so it's really interesting to see that, NaCl putting on a show right now. And, we have heard that this is a new roster, so those pickups might be the difference maker. But right now, if Calamity wants any chance of winning this series, they have to start the reverse sweep right now on Havana. And it looks like we are going to get into that map right now as both teams are ready. I'm ready. You're ready. Let's go.
I'm always ready for maps like this. Havana is amazing, and I love to see it. Right now, I mean, if we see NaCl keep up the momentum that they have in this moment, I really think this is going to be a Herculean task for Calamity to even win one of these maps, let alone the next two, to make this a tie.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we've just seen, Ghosty Man kind of make this his game. He has done so well on this projectile role, and I don't think that really they have an answer for him on the side of Calamity. Mango and Aries trying their best, but it just doesn't seem like they can put him down just yet. I think we've also seen a very aggressive Ryan from Night Night. He's been, sometime feast or famine. I've seen some plays where he's kind of just charged in and it hasn't worked out for him, but most of the time he is able to lead his squad into victory. And Yixi on this Mercy, I cannot say enough about her play. It has been phenomenal. You don't really see Mercy that much as an impact factor, but she has done great so far. Mango on the Torb. This is going to be something very interesting because it's going to be kind of an anti-Pharah device at this point because it doesn't seem like Ghosty Man is going to be on the Pharah.
Yeah, the anti-Pharah device, like you said, nothing really counters Pharah as effectively as a Torbjorn turret. It doesn't exactly kill her, but it brings her out, makes her hide around corners a little bit more, makes it much more difficult for her to dive into the back of the enemy team. Like you said, right now, I mean, Ghosty Man has made this game his own, and what we're looking at so far, I mean, when Wasp was in the game, Wasp was on fire. The Stinger was coming out time and time again. Those headshots were clean on the Ashe. Wasp was back on the Ashe as well, so a lot of damage is being dumped into them. It looks like Calamity's playing a very unusual strategy of far back high ground, especially with the team comp they're running of a Torb Ashe. The Ashe makes sense, but the rest of the team being up there, a very uncommon, unusual strategy. But, I mean, if it looks like they are able to get, or if they are able to stall this fight for long enough, it could work out. But as we're seeing right now with this ultimate advantage, Ghosty Man halfway to a barrage, the resurrection is going to come through, but at this point, you're just feeding Ghosty Man more of his ultimate. It's going from 50% to 80% of a barrage in 3 rockets, so that is just crazy. It shows it's kind of dangerous to move up like that with a Pharah on the enemy team. If he is able to find Mango's turret, that's going to give Ghosty Man even more room to move above the enemy team. Wasp clicks Aries in the head and finds Kristen straight after, so that's going to be 2 eliminations. And right now, I mean, NaCl is not letting up. They are relentless, and with 3 minutes, nearly a minute off the clock, but a consistent push, they're already going to cap this first point.
NaCl just took it to Calamity, and I agree with you, that positioning was not great from Calamity. I was surprised that DJ and Jag did not play on the low ground on that corner, maybe have Mango's turret on that on the side, kind of hidden away. You're gonna have the Ares Ash on high ground, but it's not gonna matter what they could have done because right now it's about what they're about to do. Right now the momentum is completely in Salt's favor. They've done a great job so far pushing this payload. The question is, can Calamity re-engage as once again they take a very passive defense, kind of far away from objective.
Yeah, without a doubt, they've kind of got a little bit aggressive, kept themselves away from the objective, or I guess they got defensive rather. And we see a lot of ultimates coming out to show that the offensive team is really getting a lot more damage and a lot more success so far. Ares does find Wasp, but I think all that's going to result in is a res. Looks like we are going to see a pause. I'm not quite sure what happened, possibly a disconnect from one of the players. But I mean, this gives us more time to kind of analyze what happened on that first point because it flew by so quickly.
Yeah, I think that was an auto pause DC. Don't see anyone leaving the lobby just yet. It looks like it was someone on the side of Calamity because they did ask for the pause themselves, but we're gonna just wait and see how that ends up. And I think you just nailed the hammer on the head really with what you said about that positioning. It just they played that high ground. They had no cart contest the entire time. They were playing on the back foot. Even when they got the res and had the 6v6, they were just pumping the brakes and just hitting S as far as they could go. And that just does not win games, especially when you're on defense.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at situations like that, playing defensively, like we said it time and time again, when you play defensive like that, you're just not going to get any value. I mean, you're not going to find any eliminations. They needed to be playing in that kind of team comp. They needed a Junkrat or a Bastion or something that could just put out an insane amount of damage. But instead, they went with a Torbjorn and an Ashe, which is just not going to do enough at such long range. Ares needed to be farming that Bob probably 6 or 7 times faster. I mean, at this point, we're halfway done with the second point and Ares is just now about to get his first Bob. So that's definitely not looking great. Maybe they're going to swap around, maybe swap their comp a little bit, but with pushing, I mean, with defending against what is going to be 6 ultimates in the next fight, Calamity's really going to have to put all their cards on the table if they want to win this.
Yeah, and I'm, you know, it's interesting because do you think Wasp can get rezzed here? I think that's the big question. If Yixi can get that res, I think that could change the tide of the fight. They are right now in a 5v6. They do have a lot of also burn, and I think they really need to get rid of that fire ult as soon as possible because this point is just not good for her. The ceiling is so low, you don't really have that many corners to hide behind. So that barrage could be a fight winner, could get them that point if they do it soon enough, quick enough, not able to get enough people back on point on the side of Calamity.
Yeah, no doubt. Like you said, this is not a good Pharah map really as a whole, but Mango being taken out of the fight, even if Wasp isn't rezzed, we're just gonna have a clean 5v5 as whoever gets subbed in, or if Mango does end up returning, then they're gonna have to walk all the way out of spawn. They lost ult charge. So right now it's gonna be a very clean 5v5. But if Wasp comes out, it's gonna be a very easy 7v5. I'm sure that Bob's gonna come out right away as soon as Wasp returns to this fight.
It looks like also we're gonna be seeing a mid-match sub coming in. Mango's internet doesn't seem to be stable enough for them to play, so that's gonna be also honestly a big turn because that makes that 5v6 a 5v5. So the advantage actually might completely shift right now on the side of NaCl.
Yeah, I like you said, even without that Ash, NaCl most likely going to be able to get very aggressive here, especially with the Ryan Sigma against the Sigma Orisa. They don't have a lot of upfront damage. They can't really afford to get aggressive against Orion Sigma. So the Orisa Sigma, I mean, we saw him do it on first point as well. They're probably just going to hold S out of this fight.
I mean, that's all you can really do, right? You're gonna have to wait, and you do have time to regroup and contest this. You can kind of just jump down from the high ground at the last second. They do have some ultis. I mean, they're using the Valk right now. They almost have the Bob, as we talked about before. They do have the square, so the square from the high ground actually could be great for Crispin. Not for damage, but just all that extra healing coming out from BAP is so useful. You don't see it as much, but still waiting. So not gonna happen quite just yet.
Yeah, nothing going to happen quite yet. We're waiting for a new player to join the team, so we can keep talking. But right now, like I said at the beginning of this map, if NaCl keeps up the momentum they have, if Salt is able to continue this aggression that we've seen up to this point, I don't think Calamity's got much of a chance anymore. We talked about it earlier, how they're able to continue moving in and get aggressive, and how NaCl lost their first map to Calamity. But right now, I mean, NaCl is just on fire.
Yep, the past is the past, and this is the present right now. It's just NaCl's world, and we are living in it. But we're about to be living back in this game as we are going back to Havana right now. So we're in the middle of a team fight, so I'm going to let you take it away.
Alright, we're going to jump right back into this team fight. Aries did get the elimination onto Wasp, and I heard the res go off, but it will connect. Yixi does end up getting that resurrection onto Wasp, and like I said, let's see how close my prediction was. Bob does come flying out right after the res. My prediction to this point spot on, but where did Bob go? Oh, he's pulled behind the point, so he's just dumping damage to his shield. What a square from Crispin and a Bob from Aries. Could make this much more difficult. Goes to hit the barrage onto Aries and Crows, but Obi-Wan on the Widowmaker being subbed in mid-match does not shake him at all. Does find Ghostman with the pick as Bob takes out Wasp as well. So right now, even though they came out on top of this fight, Obi-Wan was able to retrieve on the Widowmaker and finds 2 eliminations. Being subbed in mid-match does not care to this man. He's halfway to sights already. He's put in enough damage. He is a much different DPS than we've seen so far, but on his own, he will not be able to save this fight. As it looks like NaCl, they were in trouble for just a moment, but they're able to come out back on top. They've got 5 minutes and 15 seconds to cap 3rd point.
It is the barrage, which is really good. I'm surprised they switched back onto the Genji because I feel like Pharah actually would be better here. But, you know, Ghost Demon has been amazing on this Genji. So who am I to judge or assume? We do see that DJ does have that bomb move, but it's all that they're really working with now. They are very close to Jag's grab flux, but they're going to need to make a stand here. They're just giving up, again, so much free real estate for this cart to get on this 3rd point right now. They need to make a move.
Right now, I mean, Crispin finds that pick on the Ghosty Man, but look at the strategy we're seeing from Calamity. They're still playing this far back corner. This is the moment where they need to get super aggressive and move forward. They're going to commit Gravitic Flux and pick up a couple, but nobody's there to confirm those kills quite yet. Obi-Wan does find Widowmaker in the abdomen, but the resurrection obviously comes through very quickly. DJ takes out Night Knight, but Silver has found Aries, so if Obi-Wan can be taken out of this fight, our resurrection coming back onto Aries. So it's going to be a 6v5. Night Knight respawning right about now, going to walk out of spawn. No Shatter online quite yet. So things are going to be interesting, but we see 3 ultimates nearly 3.5 versus 3 ultimates nearly 5. So the window coming out, Ghostman has already been dismissed by Aries. And right now, they're just doing their best to survive, but this fight really is going to be another one of those slow burns where people just get picks until they find an opportunity to move forward.
One so far seems to be Calamity's only hope. They've kind of been reinvigorated on this 3rd point. They are able to actually hold out a little bit longer. And the ult economy is right now so much in their favor as they use the bongo. Question is, will it get the value they're looking for? We're seeing Ghosty Man swap onto that Widow as well, so there is going to be that 1v1 duel. There's a lot at stake. The pride, the match, the map. The question is, who will get the better of it?
Yeah, swapping on the Widowmaker right now is especially difficult because Obi-Wan has those sights up, so Widowmaker on the enemy team is by no means a secret. So right now it's going to be that classic contest between the Widowmakers who's going to get a pick first. Aries throws out Bob first. Right here, maybe a very lethal mistake as we see Wasp holding onto that Bob, kind of baiting one out of Aries. Win or lose, 3 minutes left on the clock. All they really need to do is store up these ultimates. Ghostman finds Obi-Wan already 70% to those sights. Then on Widowmaker for maybe 30 seconds. Jag the Nerd does end up taking out Widowfaker though. I've said Maker so many times I'm losing my mind. So Yixi and Wasp both hold on to those ultimates. We see sights about to come online and they've got the ultimate advantage. The question is, how far can they really get this cart moving once we see Calamity's really kind of put their foot down and held onto this cart?
They did swap now to the Orisa and the Moira, so they're going to be going for a little bit more of the traditional double kill comp. But here's the Bob coming out early.
There's the Bob, and there's not one to counter it. Immortality Field from Crispin does come down, but it is now been eliminated. Shield from the Sigma to keep it to boot. A box comes out, the window is up. Ghosty Man hit the double kill, one of the kills being a Venom Mine, so very interesting. That's going to be an almost immediate team kill. 3 survivors are left. Make that 2 as Jack the Nerd is very quickly dismissed. Another Bob coming from Aries, so the fact that he even has that at this point is amazing. Night Knight is going to just jump in the damage and absorb some on his own through the shield. They do dismiss the Bob, but he stalled the point just long enough for Calamity to start returning 1 by 1. 2 minutes left on the clock. They've got the Valve, they've got the Barrage, or not the Barrage, the Flux very, very soon. They really don't have anything else. Everybody survives, but Obi-Wan on the Doomfist does find Wasp in the backline. Yixi does get the Resurrection onto Wasp, as Night Knight has found Jag the Nerd as well. Wasp does take out Obi-Wan. The Valve has been popped, full less than any second now. We see a Resurrection come up from both sides, but Night Knight on the Orisa does find Jag plus-sized head hitbox. Gravitic Flux picks up 3, both the Baptiste, Sigma, and the Mercy, and all 3 of them will be eliminated by Silver. A huge Gravitic Flux secures his team's position on all 3 points with 1 minute and 42 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, so not as dominant as Iconwald, but still a full cap, only a little bit less than 2 minutes. So a great job from NaCl on this Havana attack. They got stopped a little bit though on that third point. Calamity finally showing some life in this series. You know, almost looked like they might have gotten a hold, but in the end, the swaps coming out from NaCl really were the difference maker. And you know, kudos to them for realizing like this isn't working. We only have a little bit of time left. Let's make those swaps now instead of trying to keep, you know, bargaining that this will work out eventually when it's just not. And you know, you see a lot of the teams get into that kind of cycle of, oh, well, you know, eventually when we get our ults back, it'll work out. But then they go through 2 or 3 fights like that, and it just never works out. So Obi-Wan kind of putting a little bit of life back into Calamity, but NaCl still looking very dominant so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And by no means any insults to Mango, but right now, Obi-Wan just very clearly being a much more effective DPS player for this specific team comp and play style. The Widowmaker was huge, the Doomfist was huge at the end, picking up a double area, maybe even a triple kill. So Obi-Wan definitely much more flexible, we've seen, is able to move around much more often on these heroes, isn't sticking to comfort picks as often, or maybe just has a wider hero pool as a whole. But right now, Obi-Wan has made a huge difference in this team.
Yeah, we are going to see the double sniper come out from Calamity. We have Wasp on the McCree, but that's just not great at countering Widow. So I think Calamity actually might have an advantage here. They might have the better comp. The question is, can they execute it well? Can they get a good Havana attack as they get onto the cart right now?
With a double sniper comp coming out of the attacking team, NaCl should have played this a lot closer to negate the distance the snipers need to be effective. And now that they've played this first corner, I mean, they've made their bed and now they have to sleep in it. So Wasp drops to critical condition, and that's going to be alright as he's healed right back up. Applying this first corner is such a dangerous game. They're going to drop very low. Knight's shield just being ripped to shreds. The man in critical condition himself, only 20% to his shatter, just cannot find a lot of value quite yet. Make that 30. Wasp 30% to a high noon as well, 40% from Yixi on the rally. And right now we just see ultimate versus ultimate. Everyone's just trying to get them as fast as possible. And the way these two teams play in this diamond division is going to be just wait for that first elimination and then do your best. But right now these fights are beyond slow.
So there's the first right there. DJ is able to take out Yixi, so that might be the opening they need, but right now they just can't seem to get this grind down. Night is playing the gatekeeper, and there's a pick onto Ares. This fight now is evened up.
Yeah, Ghosty Man does take out Ares, like you said, and Night, there was an elimination early on, but right now it's going to be very difficult to either team really do anything. But as these fights are difficult, oh, the sleep dart kill onto Crispin from Widowfaker. You do not see those very often as it does such a small amount of damage. Widowfaker very clearly a very bloodthirsty support player. That's the second or third time they've walked away from a team fight with a double or triple kill underneath her belt. So things are really working out well with the Ana pick. Kind of a niche pick, as Ana versus Widowmaker is a very difficult thing to do. But right now, I mean, the Ana pick working out with flying colors here.
She did commit the nano at the end of that fight though, which honestly probably wasn't needed. And now we're seeing Obi-Wan with that dragon, a pull from DJ. Could be a full teammate. It is the mini grab, and here it comes.
The mini grab comes through. It's going to pick up Night, who just barely does not survive. Was in critical condition, almost made it out of the dragon. Now with that main tank missing, this is going to be the fight for Calamity to just start mopping them up. Things are looking good already with 2 eliminations out the gate. Popping a rally to boot. The window to Bongo, both online. The Flux not too far behind. Crispin gets the shield bash kill onto Silver. They're just trying to get the rarest kills in the feed that they can. So we see 4 ultimates online. They got 3 as Rally does come out, but Gravitic Flux and Window come out from Calamity as well. The High Noon comes online from Wasp, but it's not getting any value as DJ takes him out of the fight. So Rally and Yixi, the last survivor on the card, will be eliminated, but with just enough time for Night to touch. Halfway to another shatter will be eliminated. A minute and a half on the clock. Turns into 4 minutes in the blink of an eye, and we will move into point 2.
Yeah, Calamity is looking pretty good right now on this attack, and I think you're seeing where Bat might be better for NaCl. The Ana can do so much, but that lamp from Baptiste is so great, and it could have completely canceled out that full dragons, but that isn't what they have right now. Ghosty Man does have that blade, but it's not going to matter if they fall early in this fight.
Ares does take Ghosty Man and the blade out of the fight, so that's going to be 1 less ultimate online. The Nano about to come online as well. It depends how bad they want to win this fight. Obi-Wan already has another Dragons online. Ares with a Bob not too far behind, but like you said, that mini grab into the Dragons would be very, very difficult to come out on top of a Wasp. Finding Jack the Earth going to make this a 5v6. Gravitic Flux does come out online from Silver. Now he's trying to find any kind of value, but he's not going to be able to quite yet. Ends up picking up 3, but again, only gets one of them on the way down. Christian drops into critical condition as well as Kurt's been taken out of the fight. Widowmaker has been eliminated. The Dragons come out from Obi-Wan as his life is taken from underneath a flame strike. Silver found a lot of value to the Dragons. Kind of a panic ultimate there, did not get any value. And with 3 minutes on the clock and a lot of ultimates to their name, NaCl back in shape to win this next fight.
Totally agree with you. That did look like a panic all out, but it looks like Obi-Wan is going to swap to the main. We've seen that Calamity really like this Mei pick. They really like to wall off someone and then just try to run onto them, but they don't have a Ryan. They don't have a Lucio. Maybe not the most effective strategy. It hasn't worked out thus far, but they're going to need it to work out here.
Blade does come out from Ghost and takes out the Immortality Field and Crispin before being taken out on his own, but eliminating that Brigida does take Rally out of the fight. So things are looking quite good already. Ares did find that elimination. It's not going to matter quite yet, as the fight is not over until all the players are dead. Oh, DJ not able to make it out the flashbang kill. That's the third rare kill we've seen in the feed in this game. Wasp still has that high noon. Knight still has that shatter. Another rally about to come online against Crispin's rally. The window and the bongo all online for Calamity. So right now it's still really anybody's game.
Yeah, but you know, there's only 2 minutes on the clock, and this is kind of where you get into dire territory. You need to start moving that card, and you can win this fight, and then maybe lose 1 or 2, you're in good condition. But it's right now basically where it was once they capped. The nade is coming in as huge.
A massive nade does come from Widowmaker, like you said, picks up 4 there, so the Immortality Field does negate that damage. But Crispin and Obi-Wan both find picks onto NaCl.Exe and Geeks respectively, so the rally has been taken out of the fight, but a Gravitic Flux is ready to come online from Silver, and the name of the game right now is Stall. NaCl wants to prevent Calamity from getting to the second point, but Ghostyman finds Obi-Wan, but will trade a life of his own as well as Silver's to get that kill, so maybe get a little bit greedy. Wasp and Widowmaker just barely trying to make it out of this fight. Oh, Widowmaker hit the nasty sleep onto Jag the Nerd, who will be woken up via Flame Strike. So that does get a little bit more ult charge for Night, but right now with a little over a minute on the clock and nearly 4 ultimates to your name versus about 3 from the enemy team, NaCl can come out on top of this, but whether or not they'll be able to do so, Wasp kind of panics in the bottom there, gets eliminated by Ares, as Ares just kind of shooting fish in a barrel there, as Wasp really had nowhere to run. High noon taken out of the fight. The rally's ready. The Nano's about to be ready. The Gravitic Flux nearly ready as well. Rally's going to be popped pretty early. They're going to try to take this 5v6. The double Gravitic Flux coming out? No, I'm sorry. Silver's does not come out quite yet. Jag does come out, doesn't get any value. There's Silver's not too far behind. Immortality Field will spawn. Does a lot of damage. The Ghost there to clean it up quite yet. NaCl.Exe is hit by, or does get the pin onto Ares. The Nano coming through onto NaCl. He's now frozen by Obi-Wan on the Mei. Broski finds the pick onto NaCl with a double high noon kill coming from Wasp. DJ cannot do it. Now he finds Wasp taken out by Ghostyman. 30 seconds left on the clock. 1 Blizzard to their name. It's now going to be the Blizzard here will either get Calamity the continuation of the map, or this will give NaCl the technical win with the current 3-0. So this Blizzard is going to have to be absolutely huge.
Yeah, Silver is going to be tasked with eating that. Maybe they can get a deflect. I think you can deflect it, but right now the Ball and Lucio just trying to get overtime going, and there is the mail.
Here comes the Blizzard. It's going to be big, but not quite big enough. Wasp does find Crispin. NaCl.Exe eliminated by a quadruple team effort. The DJ does find Yixi on the Rhine as well with the pin. Widowmaker has taken out Obi-Wan, though, arguably the best defender for the point. Ares does find Ghostyman, so right now they can try their hardest. We see Jag doing a spin to win combo. It looks like it's going to keep this point alive, but we know that it will be impossible for them to cap with as much time as NaCl, even if they are able to break through this point.
Yeah, at this point they're going to be looking to cap up anytime. They only have a minute and a half in the time bank, so this is probably going to be an overtime push to the end, but they were able to get it. We do see now DJ on the Rhine, which we haven't really seen in all this series, mostly just playing that Orisa. So this might be the difference maker. Silver does have the Graplex, but Ares is going to fall off the map early, and that's not a good look for Calamity as they get onto this third point.
Yeah, with a minute on the clock, you really don't want to see one of your players flying off the map like that. Very unfortunate, but it looks like they're going for the reset. I mean, they could have walked into spawn, but might as well make a fool of yourself before you do it, right? Wasp has the high noon, and Silver has the Gravitic Flux as well. With a shatter from NaCl.Exe, they're going to pop the Gravitic Flux very early. Crispin's rally not too far behind. The high noon's going to pick up just DJ, but that pick here is going to be huge. With 40 seconds left on the clock, the Reinhardt missing is much more important than the Extreme missing. Ares is going to pick up a double kill on that. Widowmaker finds both the DPS, but that's not really going to matter as long as any of the team is alive. Their main goal is to stall this point. A solo shatter picks up onto Crispin, who will end up not paying the price quite yet. We do see Obi-Wan on McCree now in the back line, just trying to dump some damage. DJ very clearly projecting that they have a shatter of their own, trying to take out NaCl.Exe beforehand, but if NaCl.Exe falls, it's going to be a very free shatter. Oh, it's free anyway with a double pick, ends up taking out NaCl.Exe. Yixi falls as well. 10 seconds left on the clock, so this is going to be impossible to cap with any time, but with the rally ready, it's going to be very difficult to cap it all. Kroski on the Lucio has the beat. We see High Noon almost ready from Obi-Wan, and right now it's just going to have to be a dry fight for NaCl, or we will be going into extra rounds. Capping it all will result in a minute for them on the clock.
And right now they're just waiting and waiting. But here's the rally coming out early, so they're just trying to get DJ down. Haven't seen that B come out just yet. They're probably waiting to save it. Ares does have the Widow infrared sights, but that might not be as important, but Obi-Wan's gonna get the first pick.
Sights and B do come out. Yixi does end up finding Obi, but missing a support, especially your main support in this fight. It's going to be very difficult. Ares again finds that massive hitbox. DJ finding a pick of their own, and it looks like Calamity's not ready to go down without a fight quite yet. They are going to hold on to the point. The sole survivor being Silver. He's going to pop the Gravitic Flux, a critical condition, a bit of a panic ult, but it's not like he had any other time to use it. And with that, they will complete all 3 points. A minute on the clock. We will be going into extra rounds on Havana.
Correction to what I said earlier, because I always seem to mess up the escort and hybrid rules. So you're right. On escort, it's where you get an extra minute, even if you cap with no time. But we're going to see now that minute 42 be bumped up to 2 minutes and 42 seconds for NaCl. So a pretty good defense from them, but Calamity not out of this just yet. And, you know, it really comes down to that first point. Neither team really able to hold on to it very well. Calamity able to get a better 3rd point defense, and NaCl able to get a 2nd point defense that was a bit better. So we have seen sometimes the team just let them get the cap for first point and then hold them right at that gate. That is a strategy, especially if they don't want to like kind of take that kind of risky fight where if you lose it, then you're going to give them a lot of point percentage on point too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the big difference between Havana extra rounds and normal Havana is in the extra rounds, all you're really looking to do is cap that first point. Anything you get afterwards is just kind of lucky and just kind of comes out on top for you and your team. But right now we're going to see that offensive pharmacy, and if it works as well as it, or excuse me, the defensive pharmacy, and as long as it works as well as it did on their offense, I think they're going to be in a great position to stall for this first minute.
I'm surprised they're not playing right on top of the spawn building, because that's usually where Pharah is really good. You can just have her basically float off the top of the offensive spawn and just have her like spam down, but instead they are going to play back, they are going to give some room, but they are going to be holding up a little bit closer than they were previously. So the question is, will it work out? The Pharah has been so good so far, but is it enough?
Yeah, they are again playing a very aggressive team comp, and they are going to defend around that back corner. So it's a very unusual strategy of things to do, but right now it seems to be paying off, as we already see half of the time bank is gone. Ghosty Man less than halfway to that ultimate, so he's really got to find that barrage, because that barrage could win this entire thing for the team. But no, instead Obi-Wan's going to find Ghosty Man. That barrage will not be coming online anytime soon, except for when Yixi hits that resurrection. But now that they know there's a Widowmaker, Ghosty Man can get a little bit more aggressive, as we are waiting for whichever team's going to get a pick next. But it's Ghosty Man onto Ares, to double hit scan. It's not going to be enough to stop him quite yet. Obi-Wan does end up finding Ghosty Man. A huge shatter comes out from DJ, picked up a quadruple there, I believe. Obi-Wan with another pick, lost finds DJ, but it's far too late at this point. 2 survivors left from NaCl, but this is the Calamity we haven't seen all day. They're actually getting some kills, they're actually getting an effective push, and right now I don't think we're going to be able to see a full team recontest, but with Shatter, Valk, and Nano online, with Bob and Flux not too far behind, I think that NaCl will be able to end this at any given moment.
Ghosty Man does touch though at the last second, so he's going to be waiting for his team to get back, but the Shatter coming out, is that enough?
A double shatter comes out. Night picks up 2, but it's not going to be enough. His Ghosty Man has already been dismissed. He needs to find an elimination. The Nano coming out onto Night as well. They're really trying to end this right here, right now. But Crispin finds Yixi instead. The Valk has been taken out of the fight. That Mercy won't be getting res anytime soon. Both supports are gone. Ares even committing a Bob to this fight. So honestly, they commit the 2 ults, but Night already 90% to another shatter with Bob, Valk, and Flux ready to go. As soon as they get back to this point, I think NaCl can end this.
Really surprised that Ghosty Man swapped off of the Pharah, was so close to that barrage, and even though it's kind of a low ceiling here, that barrage could be the fight ender, as he talked about. Now only has 20% on that blade, and I think right there we saw how valuable BAP is. There was a huge shatter, a huge anti coming out from NaCl, but they just weren't able to finish the job because of Kroski's lamp. And right now, Calamity getting more headway on this point too, but that's a pick onto Ares.
Going to be a massive pick on the Ares from Ghosty Man. So things like we see are looking fantastic. The Gravitic Flux come through, and as predicted, it looks like this fight is going to be going exactly as I said it. What a big shatter comes out from Night. Picks up Jag, the nerd, the sole survivor being Obi-Wan, who's going to get obliterated. And just like that, NaCl takes this from a first point cap to a first point finish. And all they have to do is get 34.77 meters after the first point, and they can send this into a 3-0.
I am disappointed by their first point defense on the side of NaCl. They had the right comp, they just were not playing it the right way. They should have had all of the team except for the pharmacy play like that low ground to the left, and then you got the Pharah just up top spamming away. And it doesn't matter if you win that fight, you just need to hold point, not let them get any push, kill more time. Then you're going to have that second fight on first point, maybe even a third if you get back quick enough. But instead, they kind of did the exact same thing we've seen from Calamity, where they just kept giving up space. You know, I'm talked about this before. It's fine to respect your opponent, but you gotta play them hard. You gotta play at them. You cannot give them too much respect and just let them get free point percentage. And now, Salt does know their win condition. They know they don't have to push it too far. They do have a pretty good time bank for overtime. 2 minutes, 42 seconds, but that can disappear in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, like 2 minutes and 42 seconds sounds like a lot, but in these moments, it's not really going to be as much as people might expect. It's something that could get them. I mean, it's a little under a minute and a half, or it's a little under a minute and 15 seconds less than they would get in their initial push. But right now, if their offense is as successful as we saw the first time, they really won't even need that much time to win this entire thing.
Look, they're going to be doing that really close hold. It looks like they're just hiding right now, and here they are running out. Will they be able to touch the point, though?
Wasp finds Obi-Wan to the wall, not really getting the value they wanted. Now they're missing their Mei, and the entire point of this team comp is to have your full 6 versus 1 as possible. But even if they come out on top of this team fight, their next engagement is going to have to be a 5v6. We see Night got 30% ult charge, while Gentle is already halfway to a shatter. So right now, with the slight spawn advantage and the Mei not returning to this for maybe 20 to 30 seconds, right now is where NaCl is going to be able to come out on top. Ghosty Man on the Bastion, love to see it. I just want to see him dump in some damage. It looks like he is here to do so. Melting Gentle's shield straight away. He finds the immortality kill as well. Drops into critical condition straight away, though. Is not behind any shields at the moment. They're all hiding behind Karma. Ghosty Man is able to pick up Broski. This is the first time I've cast a Bastion in a really long time, but Gentle does find Night again. So just when we think things are working out for NaCl, they lose a player like that. The Resurrection does come through. Crispin has him eliminated, but Ares is taken out by the Dynamite as well. Ghosty Man picks up a double kill on that Bastion, holding left click better than anybody I've seen do all game. So he's doing a fantastic job so far. And now they're just going to set up this Bastion on cart. And at this point, better just pray it works because you're running out of time to swap.
Yeah, that killed a minute plus on the side of NaCl's attack. So that was a great defense in Calamity. They played that exactly how you would want to for that close hold. But Ghosty Man kind of in a weird place because they don't have that Orisa really to shield him. And we see right now, Night is trying to position himself so he is protecting that Bastion. Bastion has to be playing point and click adventure. Just hit that left button, mouse button as you said, and spray away.
Yeah, I mean, it's the spray and pray strategy. A big Rabbinic one from Silver, though. It's going to pick up, I think, 4. Nobody's going to be there to follow up on it, but boy, did that dump in a lot of damage. The rally looks like it is going to be bigger, though. We see Ghosty Man with the Bastion pick. Still, he's able to get some damage, but not quite enough. Half his team is ripped away under him. Ghosty Man and Silver not too far behind. That's going to be an immediate 6K for Calamity. And just when we thought this was over, it looks like it's not going to be quite yet.
Yeah, we're going to see Ghosty Man us hop onto the fire. That Bastion is not getting the job done. This is going to be very dire right now for the side of NaCl because they need to win this fight or it is lights out on this map. They do not want Calamity to get back into this series, but they have 3 ults on their side of Calamity, so they just need to use them wisely.
Yeah, like you said, 3 ultimates are online from Calamity. They're going to engage the Blizzard very, very early on. Night did hit a Shatter, but the Nano will keep him alive, but a Shatter did not get any value. Only 20% to another one. We see the Bongos ready Bob as well, and Bob is the last kind of game-ending ultimate they have online. And Silver took out Jag. Wasp found DJ as well. Just when we thought it was going to be over, they're going to be able to come back to the point. Bob on the far side of points, they're not going to be able to get it anywhere, but as long as they can eliminate the entirety of Calamity, it will be very easy to get these kills later on. Obi-Wan putting a lot of pressure on the Night, but it's not going to matter. Night chases Broski into the depths, trying to confirm that elimination is able to do so. Obi-Wan falls as well to a melee from the Ana. Very unfortunate to get that aggressive and lose to a support in that situation, but they are going to look for the recontest, it seems. But with NaCl getting so aggressive, they're not going to be able to find that. Looks like we've got the cap coming through. We are now in an overtime situation. They've got the Falcon, they've almost got the Mirage. They're going to have to hit this massive ultimate here if they want to win this.
Yeah, and Ares is actually killed very late in that fight, so they got long spawn. They're still trying to make their way back to the point. So this right now is basically a 5v6 in the favor of NaCl. They do have the Doomfist right now on for Obi-Wan, so he's going to be jumping in trying to get some kills in the back. But here's the rally. Will it be enough?
The rally is ready, and if they time it out correctly, the barrage can be huge here from Ghosty Man, but no, Ghosty Man taken out instead. Yixi does survive, looks for the resurrection. Most likely Rabbinic was coming through, but Obi-Wan found Widowmaker in the backline. A Shatter hits absolutely no one, so this barrage is kind of their sole survivor, their last chance of staying alive. He's going to hit a barrage, he's going to pick up Ares, but it's not going to be enough quite yet. He finds Broski as well. Night finds Crispin in the front line of that barrage. Was massive. It's going to be a double kill as well. Jag the Nerd finally takes out Ghosty Man, but in that final moment, nothing matters as NaCl picks it up and makes this a 3-0.
They are going to take the series, and I'm just going to say it now. Yixi for MVP, because oh my goodness, this Mercy has done so much for NaCl. It's insane how much value they've gotten out of these reses. I mean, if you don't get the res onto the Pharah, you don't win that, because that barrage, although it didn't kill the entire team, it distracted them. It got at least 1 or 2 picks, I believe, and then what looked very dire for NaCl at the end became very winnable quickly. So,
I
Yixi,
have to agree.
you are doing so well.
So many
Great
people
job.
would say, oh, that Pharah hit a massive play, but they'd all look
nice
past
to
the
be
fact that without that
appreciated.
resurrection from Yixi, that never would have happened. I have to agree, I'm not one to pick a Mercy as an MVP very often, but with the resurrections we've seen from Yixi today, she is unstoppable.
Yep, but that is going to be the series for Calamity, but we're not done just yet. We do play a 4-map set, and next, we are going to Hanamura. So, do you think we're going to see any more sim strats today?
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. A team that would pick a sim strat on Li Zhang would probably pick one on Hanamura as well. But Ghost to Man on the Pharah, at least on the offense, wouldn't be a surprise either. So, you know, this could really go either way, I think, but I'm really excited to see it. I like Hanamura. I don't like 2CP maps, but Hanamura is one that I've grown to love simply because I've played it so many freaking times.
And, you know, it's really interesting because it's kind of in a scenario that's very much like old Overwatch League, you know, where map differential is so important. So even though NaCl has secured the series, they still need to play for map differential. They want to get that 4-0. And sometimes teams can just kind of lose kind of sight of the end goal. They're like, hey, we already won, so we can kind of take it easy on this last map. They kind of lose, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel, and they can just play a little bit more sloppy on this last map.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like they are going to put a couple players in, swap in a few players for their team. So maybe we'll see something a little bit different, but it looks like they are going to move around and maybe have a little bit more fun with their team comps, maybe just get their players a little bit of extra play time. So I'm excited to see what Hanamura is going to bring us.
Yeah, and you know, we talked already a little bit about the sim strat, but you know, we could see Farah. She's all right here. She's not great. This kind of can be a playground for Widow. She's great, got great sight lines on attack and on defense. If you can kind of get, like, you know, looking at the right person to click heads. But we are going to be starting this map now. So our final map of the series underway on Hanamura.
Hanamura, you know it, you love it. We're going to be jumping right in. And right now, I mean, Calamity did their best, but I mean, at this point, NaCl has been playing an entirely different game. They've put Calamity to shame the entirety of this series. And I'd be very surprised if Hanamura went any other way than what we've seen so far. NaCl has just had every game in the bag.
You know, I don't know about that, because Obi-Wan actually has kind of given a spark to Calamity. They've kind of been the firepower they've needed. The hero pool might be better for them. It just seems like they're getting those picks when it's needed the most. So, you know, if they can stay on that Widow, maybe they can pop up a little bit more. But I agree that NaCl definitely has the advantage right now. They have the mental fortitude. They've got the map, you know, percentage victory so far. But, you know, Havana was really close, much closer than any map we've seen so far. And it's kind of interesting because Li Zhang was definitely the most so far we saw, at least like cap-wise, because it was a 2-0 in the favor of Salt. But, you know, every map's gotten a little bit closer to Calamity, so maybe they're able to take one back at the very end of the series.
Yeah, maybe this will be where Calamity comes out on top. You hope to see things along those lines. I mean, you always love a good underdog story, and although they've lost the series, it would be nice for their fans to have them walk away with one map. This is going to be the final map, like we said, of this Diamond game this evening. So everyone be ready for a couple of pretty crazy strats. We're going to be moving forward with the Rhine Sigma on the offense and the Rhine Sigma on the defense. So a double hit scan with Wasp flying a bar is going to be really difficult to find effective value in there. But as long as Wasp will play these corners appropriately, it's very easy to hopefully find an early elimination. They've got the damage boost and the resurrection to boot. So Wasp can afford to get a little bit more aggressive here. But right now, Silver being the aggressive one, dropping into critical position. Kristen finds Wasp in the air. Very unfortunate. Silver, critical health as well. No supports are really there to keep him alive quite yet. Drops into crit, and Yixi does find the resurrection onto Wasp and does not lose Silver in the process. So that's fantastic. I mean, this new roster for NaCl has been phenomenal. Ares is definitely putting on the fight, though. Obi-Wan just carrying the entirety of Calamity on his shoulders at this moment. A nano boost already coming through with a shatter coming out from DJ, picks up 0, but a shatter from Silver picks up 1. The nano boost is here as well. Crispin hits the stun lock onto the line. It's not going to be enough quite yet. Cypher 70%. Ixie has that belt. Silver finds Crispin with the flame strike. And I mean, right now, NaCl just gets to kind of roll into the point. They're up in numbers. They've got the main tank and the support to boot. They're here to seriously do some damage. Cypher taking up Obi-Wan now as well, with Wasp finding the pick onto Jack the Nerd. They've got 3 minutes on the clock, and they're about to tap first point.
Yeah, and you know, we've been talking a lot about Yixi, but Widowfaker has done a great job. Earlier I talked about why the BAP might be better than the Ana, but right now Widowfaker's showing why the Ana is better than the BAP. These antis have been huge. They were huge on Havana too. I didn't get to point it out as much, but she is doing an amazing job hitting these antis. They have been ginormous for her team, and right now 5 minutes and 22 seconds and counting right now for NaCl as they try to get a full count.
Rally coming out from Crispin super early on, trying to help his Reinhardt get trying to help the Reinhardt get a little bit more damage. Obi-Wan finds Cypher with the headshot, flagging that far back, low ground as most Widowmakers will do on this map in the defensive position. Ravidic Flux is online from both teams to support ult to boot. We see High Noon ready as well, but unless they hit the highest of noons here, it's going to be very difficult for them to hit anything with that High Noon. They're just looking pretty good right now. Both teams are able to put on a good defense and a good offense, but like we always say, as every second takes away, the defensive team gets the advantage. Silver has the nano. He's going to get stunned out of his shatter and comes through onto no one. Very unfortunate. There's a pick coming from Sotab as well. It's not going to get a lot of value. Silver just kind of up there dealing some damage onto DJ, but not finding it quite yet. DJ only 20% away from that shatter. Is going to jump off the high ground, but Obi-Wan found Wasp as soon as Wasp found an elimination as well. The Sword Tab is going to take out Crispin in this fight. We hear the High Noon go off as well as the Falcons online. Wasp is res with the Barrage online. This is going to be pick after pick. The Battle Mercy gets the melee kill onto Obi-Wan. The Bob flies on the point. He's going to have most of his bullets eaten, and he will be charged off of the point. A fantastic play by the Reinhardt actually takes him off the map. Silver with the Soul Survivor mentality, trying to keep his team alive, and just like that, 4 minutes and 11 seconds on the clock. NaCl coming out just as strong as they have all day.
Even with Night and Ghosty Man out, still looking very dominant, having 11 more seconds than they started with on that attack. And Silver charging the Bob off point. I thought he was going to be able to hit the angle or maybe just hit the corner and then he'd be okay, but honestly, that's just a power move at that point. Didn't even matter. They didn't even matter. They didn't have their run. They just weren't able to touch on the side of Calamity. The ball so close, but just not able to get there at that last second. So now it's up to Calamity to try to make this a ball game on Hanamura. A lot of time that they gave up on that defense, but they can make it right here on the offense.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what they say, 3 strikes and you're out in Calamity. I mean, they're really going to have to give us one hell of a map if they want to put this into a 3-1 scenario. But to complete Hanamura with a 4-minute and 11-second time bank is phenomenal. If this was Volskaya, I'd be a lot less surprised, as that map is notorious for finishing with large time banks. But 4+ minutes on this offense is going to make this a very difficult push for Calamity. They know their win condition, but the question is, do they have the ability to follow through?
For a second, I thought they might be trying to do a hybrid Korean dive with a Zarya and Balt, but they are going to be running the Rein Zaryas, so, you know, not what you really see anymore. Simba's kind of taken Zarya's role when you run Brawl, because he just has better abilities in general, but, you know, you do have Soytab on the Zarya. We haven't seen a lot of Soytab today. I think this is the only map they've played so far, so maybe this is a comfort pick for them, and I'm sure, from what we've seen, they're going to make it work somehow.
Yeah, I mean, everything, like you said, everything we've seen today, I'm sure they've got a plan in mind with Wasp on the May as well. Probably going to go for that wall strategy where they wall a single player and then get a little bit more aggressive against them. Try to take them out one by one. A big purple does come through from Crispin, but only picks up quite a bit. It only picks up a few. Aries on the high ground tries to do their best to get elimination, but not finding quite yet. Silver already halfway to his shadow, with DJ not too far behind, hitting halfway just about right now. Crispin halfway to a nano, Widowfaker less than 10% behind. Obi-Wan is flanking into the back line, going to put some pressure on this leg, but Yixi is paying attention. He will be back there to keep their Widowmaker alive. So this, again, is going to be a very slow fight. This is a very diamond fight, if you will. That's not an insult. I myself am a mid-diamond player, but these are just how fights in diamond work out. They are very slow until one of the teams finds an elimination, or they're able to connect an ultimate like that. The Reinhardt is nano, but he is going to be singled out. Jackson is frozen, but a double shatter comes out from DJ, and that might be what they needed. A nano comes through onto Silver to keep him alive, but the anti from Crispin does negate all of that healing, and healing will finally come through. Jackson does find Wasp in the backline, halfway to a Blizzard. The Barrage, or not the Barrage, the Valk is online, and the grab, which is a phenomenal thing to see. The fact that Soytab has his grab already shows that he's very clearly a good Zarya player, but 3 minutes on the clock are going to tick away as Ares got a double kill to boot the end of that. We will be moving into point 2 already. This is the thing about 2CP maps, is it feels like they happen so quickly, but they never end.
5.5 minutes in the time bank for Calamity, so a great attack. Then they don't have a great all bank right now. All they're gonna have is Jags, grab Flux. There are more alts right now on the side of Salt. The question is, will they be in the... Yeah, looks like they're just gonna be pushing right through the middle, so we're gonna see the brawl come out right now.
Pushing through main, a very common strategy when you expect your team to be playing the high ground, just so we saw that NaCl was there. Sights coming out here from NaCl. The grab Flux from Jag is going to pick up 2 and slam them right back down. The tank line is now missing, and just when we thought 4 minutes and 11 seconds was a lot, I mean, right now, they're going to come back to life here, and Calamity's going to show us they might be able to cap with even more time. Silver hits a shatter onto just DJ, but nobody's really there to clean up on it, and now they're going to play that stall game. They're going to swap these stall heroes and just try to hold on to the point for as long as possible, and into CP, this can actually be a very effective strategy, as it's very difficult to eliminate the team members in enough time to keep them all off the point. They keep rolling in one by one. Silver going to a slug, but just barely off the point, but that's not going to stop Wasp from getting onto Ares. But will Wasp be able to touch now? I don't think that Wasp will be able to make it in. We see a massive anti come out of Soytab, but he is able to return to the point as well. And this is one of those moments with a slight C9 from Soytab. I'm not sure if he was punched off or if he rolled off, but I mean, they got it figured out there.
I think he just rolled off, and you know, this is kind of what I was talking about maybe losing that edge once you've won the series. I just wasn't a fan of the Rein Zarya from the beginning, and it didn't seem to work. The grav, did they use the grav? I'm not sure if it was ever used.
Wondering that same thing. I don't think the grav ever ended up coming out of those fights. They swapped onto the ball and did not have the opportunity to get that grav, but I mean, we've got 2 minutes and 14 seconds left to make or break this for both teams, so I wouldn't be surprised to see if we see something similar happen with a very quick 0.1 cap and then a stall into overtime for 0.2.
Yep, and Calamity having the bigger time bank, only 14 seconds. With the new assault rules, those time banks are reduced to 2 minutes, so, you know, this won't go on forever, and we won't see, like, 8 CP and stuff, but right now, Calamity is kind of in the driver's seat. We're going to see, for the first time, we are going to see Salt on the attack in overtime, so they're running the Sim and a Winston with a Zen. This is a very interesting combo. I'm not sure if they're actually going to run this. They can still swap. Yeah, here we go, the Rhine, but they are going to probably try to sim strat just straight to point.
Yeah, a sim strat to point, a very common strategy in overtime scenarios such as this one, but these gates are going to open up, and when you're running a Symmetro, there's not really much else you expect from that team, so would not be surprised to see them rolling in, moving forward, getting a bit aggressive, and like I said, it's going to be something that we can expect, especially with the double shield to keep them alive. Ares on the Widowmaker not going to get as much value as I think they're expecting when the entire team comes rolling into their face, so it's something that you see quite often. EXE and Cypher both dropping in good condition already. They get the Sim TP up, and it looks like it will be going right to the high ground above the left side of point. They're going to be able to move in while Wasp takes a lot of damage. They're still able to get towards onto the point to deal even more damage. Right now, it's going to be whoever gets that first elimination. It's going to be Ares on EXE with the close quarters headshot, able to take the Brigida out of the fight. And they're going to brig in a brawl comp like this and spell disastrous. Ares picks up another pick, and that's going to be Obi-Wan finding a third. That's going to force the remaining survivors to get out. Silver finds DJ though, so if they regroup, Soytab found Obi-Wan as well. So if NaCl is able to regroup, they can push into a 4v6 and just absolutely roll through. Soytab still alive, picks up Kroski as well. I don't know what just happened, but he found 3 picks there. Make that 3 picks. He really found 3 before being eliminated, and that gave his team the perfect window to move forward and win this.
Now that's just Jag right now alone on that point. He's just kind of backing in. You can see right now they're just gonna march their way up point. They're gonna take it. They're looking for Jag. They found him now, and here the Sim turrets coming onto the point as NaCl takes control of it.
We see that a lot of people have returned, and Silver has that shatter, but it's not like he's going to need it. His Cypher takes on Obi-Wan without the shatter. We've put DJ in the microwave, and he will be dismissed by Yuki. Ares again finds that headshot onto Cypher, but it will not matter, as it looks like NaCl is going to be able to cap this first point. Soytab puts Ares back into his place and will be sent back to spawn. So 30 seconds left on the clock, and I mean, right now it's not going to matter. They can stall for as long as they want, but getting that full 6 before the timer runs out is going to be impossible. So they are going to move onto the second point with a little under a minute on the clock. 2, nearly 3 ultimates under their belt. They've got to push into what's going to be 5 ultimates with sights already online.
Yeah, they've got to get ultimates out, and they got to die quick, because I'm not even sure they're going to have time for a second fight at this point. They're just kind of taking this sweet time. This is probably going to be last fight for them unless they switch to stall heroes, but Soytab taking that fight on his back, able to get 3 when I thought was kind of just staggering himself, but that was all that. Salt needed to get onto that first point and take it, but this second point is not going to be as easy for them as Calamity has so much to work with.
Yeah, Calamity's got a lot to work with, like you said. We're going to see a Nano Blade come out too, and Obi-Wan picks up a triple kill, make that a quad, cleans out 4 on the team. Obi-Wan just the sole carrier of this team right now, gets so many important kills, and with 3 points, I mean, this is actually very doable for Calamity to come out on top and make this a 3-1 instead of a 4-0.
Yep, and you gotta wonder, you know, what the plan was there for NaCl. They took so much time to rotate up top that they just gave themselves no chance to get back. I think right there you kind of just have to throw yourself on the point and try to get stuff out, like get that Nano Blade out, and then hope you can get a recontest, because there's no way you're gonna win that fight with how much they had in the alt bank of Calamity. But this is now very winnable for Calamity. If they get a really quick first point grab, they might be able just to roll into point 2 and get 33%. That's all they need for this map. And while they can't win the series, they need this right now. After being 3-0'd so far in the series, this is great motivation for what comes next in this season, this stage, as well as just saying, hey, you know, we can do this. And you gotta wonder if Obi-Wan had been in the entire time, what this series would have been like, because this guy has been off the charts so far this year.
Absolutely. You've got to wonder, again, no offense to Mango as a player, but you've got to wonder why Obi-Wan hasn't been in this entire time. The man has been relentless with every single hero he's been on. He's been dumping damage on top of damage, and it has been insane. It's just amazing to see the difference that one player can make on a team like this.
Yeah, and also the swaps coming in from NaCl, like, you know, you're kind of putting in, we've seen Psycho already, but we haven't seen Soiteb at all, so maybe just putting in the subs to give them playtime. Sometimes that isn't the right play. I'm not sure if they just have a rotation or not. Some teams, you know, will just rotate based on map type. I know I've been in that scenario in the past, and right now we're seeing Wasp on the Echo, so that's something that we haven't seen all day yet. So
yeah, we talked about those Echo nerds early on, and it's interesting to see an Echo here, but if Wasp can do a lot of those bomb damage, and try to get a lot of really aggressive amounts of damage, Cypher finds Jag, but DJ already being taken out. Nixie's gonna have to go for that aggressive res, and she does end up finding it and makes out of the fight, but Wasp is able to find Obi-Wan and Widowmaker takes out Ares. Wasp gets another pick as well, and just when you think things are gonna be over, Wasp is able to turn it back around on that Widow. Soiteb takes out Crispin, but 10 seconds stalled onto the point, a minute and a half left, a serious ult disadvantage. I mean, Calamity's living on their final legs here.
Yeah, and it just seems like right now they don't know how to counter the Echo. I mean, Ares on the Widow has to be doing something, but you can't really find it because they're playing a very passive Echo Nurse, but that might be the pick they need.
That might be the pick there. Jag got very aggressive, was able to take out Silver, and missing the main tank is going to eliminate that Shatter as well, but no, Yixi is going to get another big red, but give her own life for it. Obi-Wan is able to find the Mercy that time. A double Shatter comes through, and he's not going to be able to get any value as he slept. DJ hit the Shatter of his opponent and slept as well. That was quite funny to watch those things happen back to back, but a lot of ultimates commit just enough time, a minute on the clock, and right now this looks like this could actually end in a tie, because they're going to have no time left on the clock, and it's going to take about 10 to 20 seconds to get to the second point. They've got the transformation online from Wasp, Gravitic Flux almost ready, and Nano not far behind, so this team is really going to struggle to get to the second point.
Yeah, so best case scenario right now for NaCl, this will end up in a tie. Best case scenario for Calamity, they can get 1/3 of that point. That's all they need right now to take this map. We do see Wasp with the Echo ult. That could be the game changer right there. The question is, will they be able to copy the right person?
Wasp getting very aggressive here. I think this is the transformation on the Reinhardt. I would be correct in assuming that 60% of that Shatter straight away. Silver does find DJ the Gravitic Flux. Get picked up. Oh, Jag the Nerd Psyker takes out Ares as well, and Wasp committed that Shatter, but it did not really matter, as the transformation was not really the game winner there. 30 seconds left on the clock. They will be able to recontest. They're going to have Flux, Blade, Sight, and Nano online versus Nano, Bob, and Val. The Bob may be able to counter the Blade, or at least stall it for a little bit longer, but 20 seconds on the clock. We are going to see everybody pressing Q, and ultimates will be flying.
Nano Bob. I mean, I think that's what they have to do right now to counter that Nano Blade, because he has so much health. He's an aim on his own, but here's the Nano Blade early.
Silver does take out DJ as well. The bomb falls below the map. Cypher's bomb is currently underground. They Nano Wasp instead. The Nano Blade comes through. Nobody's able to touch, and just like that, it goes from a 3-0 to a 4-0. NaCl not dropping a map.
I think the Nano Blade might have been slept. I'm not sure. He fell off the high ground. Maybe he was rocked or stunned. I'm not sure, but wow. That series just kept getting closer and closer as it went on. But at the end of the day, we will see NaCl, Salt, whatever you want to call them. They are going to get revenge for their earlier loss against Calamity. They're going to take the 4-0 victory.
Absolutely. That was amazing. You love to see it, and things are just fantastic. I'm stoked to see NaCl walk away from what was a loss originally, and I'm just stoked to see things go well for them. That was fantastic, and I'm really stoked to see all of them play.
Yep. And you know, we got to name a Mercy as MVP. I will say though, as much praise as I'm giving you, Yixi, and I really hope you watch this back. I saw you battle Mercy on Hanamura while your whole team was dying. I saw you use Valk. I saw you bring out the pistol, and just don't do that. Don't leave your team hanging there. But so many great reses that really kept NaCl in this. I think that was really a difference maker at the end of the day. I mean, everyone really played great on NaCl, as we saw. I think Wasp was also another person who did really great, as well as Night Knight. Their starting lineup looks very dangerous.
Yeah, I have to agree. The new NaCl really just came out swinging here, and that was just a phenomenal
Oh,
performance from all of
and
them.
Ghosty Man as well. Yeah, how
Ghosty
can you
Man as
forget? Yeah.
well. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I think that's all we've got for tonight. So, Septilence, take us away.
All right, everybody. Like Jag said it, the man himself, we are stoked to have you all here with us today. We could not thank you guys enough for joining us. Again, I am play-by-play caster Septilence. I am here with my good friend and color caster Jag, and we'll see you guys next time. This is us signing off.